Hey, I'm Gresham,
I'm Corey.
and we are just two girls in Jesus. We are here to dig in with the verses that we dropped on Sunday, I think. So let's get to it. But before we do that, and I always hate when people do that, but could you guys like and share and subscribe and do all the stuff? um you just doing that, you're helping God reach who he intends for this to reach. So if y'all could do that, that would be great. So we're just going to jump right into our verses, and the first one for this week is 1 Samuel 12:16. That verse says, "Now stand here and see the great thing the Lord is about to do." And the thing that just jumped out at me with this verse was he was saying he had so much faith. He was saying, watch and see, just watch and see. And I desire to have that faith in my own life, in every area of my life, not just certain ones. Like, I don't doubt for 1 second that God will provide for me because he always has. But I don't have that faith in the area of healing people that, little kids that have cancer, because he hasn't done that for me yet. Healing a family member from cancer or COVID, he hasn't done that for me yet. Well, I take that back. He did. My stepmom and my brother-in-law were both in the hospital dying literally from COVID. My stepmom walked out, but my brother-in-law didn't. But my prayer was for both of them to walk out, and that didn't happen. So, I have watch and see faith in some areas, and then in some areas I don't. I pray that I get that one day. Um, and that's hard. That's hard to realize that about yourself. What do you think, Corey?
Well, I underlined stand still, um, and where I focused was that I've missed the fact that God's working on all of us every day. I have chosen to question all of the bad that He allows, and then I scratched that out and said that happens, rather than focus on all of the good we have because of Him. And so my focus is to try to stand still so I can actually see what he is doing instead of just focusing on negatives in my life, negatives around the world, negatives with friends that I know, family members. It's easy for us to get stuck in the bad and forget about all the good. And so when I see stand still, it's almost like stand back and look around. Stop running and running and running and only complaining, and just look at what he does every day that we take it for granted. The
Yeah,
things that happen all around us every day that are good.
yeah, yeah. Something else. I didn't write this down in our original dig of this verse. This was something that popped out at me when I was doing my nuggets on the Facebook page. Our faith that God will do something does not trump his will. So just because we have all the faith in the world that God can or will do something, if it doesn't line up with God's will, we won't see it. At least, in this life, we won't see it. So our faith does not trump his will. And And if I think about it, isn't that really where our faith should lie? Not in the individual things that we will do, but faith in his will.
Yeah, but we're kind of selfish and we just want what we want when we want it,
You're
how we
exactly
want it.
you're exactly right. You are exactly right. Um, do you have anything else for this verse?
No, no. The other ones might take us down some rabbit holes.
Yeah, it might. Okay, so we will start with Isaiah 40:31 now. And that verse says, and again, y'all, I read out of the NLT. But those who trust in the Lord will find new strength. They will soar high on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint.
I'm thinking, I didn't actually write down which verse I used, if it was King James or NIV. Instead of the word trust, mine says, but those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength.
Mhm.
So this is another one where one little word, what do you think? Do you think hope and trust go together? Do you think they're the same thing? I think I can hope for something, but I don't necessarily trust it's going to happen. So I wonder why the difference. What do you think on the hope
What
versus trust?
version did you read out of?
I didn't write it down. This is when we were first starting. I didn't write
Yeah.
it down, but I'm thinking it was probably NIV.
Okay.
I'll look.
I've got a CSB version right here, and it says, but those who trust in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not become weary. They will walk and not faint. It says trust too.
I don't know. Let me find it. Go ahead and tell me what you're thinking about yours. Like
Um,
what stuck out to you the most?
this is one of those verses that, um, it reminds me of that phrase, and I say this a lot. I don't know how I did it, but I did. Um, and I think the part that hurts my heart a little bit is that when I'm going through it, when I'm in that situation, when I'm in that season of waiting for whatever it is, for healing, provision, protection, whatever, peace, joy, whatever, I don't realize it during that time period. I don't realize it as I'm going through it. Um, and so I really, I want to get better at that, but during the enduring, um, I don't see myself soaring high on wings like eagles. After the fact, I do. Like, now it was only about 1/10 of me, if even that much. The rest of it was all God. And I always feel like I don't have an option. I just have to do. I'm the only parent my son has. I have to get through this. I have to be okay because I'm all he's got, you know? I'm the only child that my mother has. I have to be okay for her, you know? I just have to get up and put one foot in front of the other and do the stuff. And sometimes I don't feel like it. But you know what? This verse doesn't say anything about feelings. It doesn't say, you know, if you feel like it, put one foot in front of the other. It doesn't say if you feel like it, um, you will walk and not grow faint. You know, um, doesn't matter how you feel because what, Corey? Our feelings
Feelings are not facts.
are not facts. And regardless of how I may be feeling, I still have to get up and go to work. I still have to get up and open my Bible and read it. Whether I'm internalizing what I'm reading or not, I still have to do it. I still have to praise. I still have to worship. I might not feel it. I might not, but that doesn't matter. You just keep doing what you're doing.
I I focused on the second half and said, I'm so ready for all of what I have prayed for to be revealed because I am ready to be on the second side of this verse. And I just looked, I was trying to find, I looked through all the versions I normally have. So I don't know why I wrote, but those who hope in the Lord. Yours said trust. ESV says, they who wait for the Lord. New King James says, those who wait. And NIV says, those who hope. So I must have used NIV. But now we've got a third word, right? We've got hope, trust, wait.
Wait.
Does that go back to the last verse? Wait and see what he will do.
I mean, I think all of those kind of encompass faith.
Yeah.
You know, faith is kind of may seem like a kind of a broad term, but it really encompasses all of those things. I don't know. We'll have to do some more digging on that word, and it would help if we knew what the Hebrew word was for that verse.
All right. You write that down and we'll study that later.
Yeah. All right, get my trusty little pen right here.
I do want to say the way that I ended this was, I am glad that we are doing this so that I can be mindful each day that God is present in my life always. Because Gresham, before I was doing this with you every day, I don't know that I felt or acknowledged that I acknowledge God every day. And this puts him, even if it's 10 minutes, 5 minutes some days, it's putting me in his word, which is, people can say whatever they want. I think it's what I need. And I think I'm finally standing still and listening to him saying, come to me, let me help you.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter how much time you put into it. And you know, I've never put like a time limit on me. Um, you know, some days are harder for me than others. And sometimes I just hold my Bible. I know I'm a weirdo. But sometimes I just hold my Bible, and sometimes, you know, I'll just sit here and hold it like this. And sometimes I'll flip the pages, just kind of rub the pages like that, and it gives me comfort. And I don't ever read it. I just hold it. Because this, I don't care what you think. And I know as parents, we said, you know, raising these, they didn't give me no manual for raising these youngins. But guess what they did? God's word is the ultimate life manual. You may not understand everything that's written in there, but if you study a little bit, do a little digging, you will, you know, and the more you understand it, the more time you want to spend in it because it is an amazing account of history. So anyway, that's a rabbit hole we don't want to go down. All right, so the next verse is Psalm 37:7. That verse says, be still in the presence of the Lord and wait patiently for him to act. Don't worry about evil people who prosper or fret about their wicked schemes. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and tell y'all and warn y'all, I could probably spend an hour on this verse alone. And I kind of broke it down into two parts. The first part being be still in the presence of the Lord and wait patiently for him to act. Now, one thing that I think is super, super important here is that term in this verse, be still, does not mean not to move. The Hebrew translation is damam, D long A, M A M. That means to cease or be silent. Cease means to stop, end, or discontinue. So, whatever your situation is, you need to stop talking so you can hear him and let go of it so he can do what he's going to do. Quit making it hard for him, which is not hard for him, it's just hard for yourself, right? That part of the verse is pretty straightforward to me. Seems easy. I know it seems easy for me. It might not be easy for someone else. Then we get to the second part that says, don't worry about evil people who prosper or fret about their wicked schemes. Now, I am just here to tell you that I do a lot of worrying about these evil people who seem to prosper. You know, the drug addict that, does drugs for the better part of 40 years of his life, while you've got babies dying at 3 years old, 4 years old from cancer, dying painful deaths from cancer at 3 or 4 years old. And the drug addict's just out here doing all the drugs, having what seems like a great time, not a care in the world, stealing from folks to get his drugs, hurting people to get his drugs. I wouldn't really say that I worry about it, but oh yeah, I fret because it's not fair to me. That's where I struggle.
I put, I did also go down a level of jealousy or envy. Hearing "do not fret" about these people succeeding in their ways. So I took it as, it's interesting that I wrote envy, and because or jealous. It's not either one of those things. It's an annoyance that you see people who put themselves out there as one thing, and they show you that they're absolutely not that thing, but they're very prosperous. And I mean, I have seen in times where their world does come tumbling down. And then I'm like, gosh, I really didn't want that to happen. I just didn't want them to just keep having all these gains and all this wonderful stuff happening when, like you said, there's people out there struggling with cancer or their child having cancer, which is worse than having it yourself, I believe.
I can't imagine. I can't.
I ended this verse by telling myself that the verse wants me to stop letting things bother me. It will be answered to eventually, but it is not mine to worry on. I don't need to spend my energy on those things.
Yeah.
And he's in control, and he sees it all. He knows what's happening. He's not flippant to it. They're not getting one over on God. They might get one over on me or you or the neighbor down the street, but God sees everything. So we need to stop worrying about what other people are doing and focus on ourselves.
Focus on God. Don't even, if I focus too much on myself, I mean, I'm going to get that recorder going in my head, where I play a situation, then, oh, I'm at the end, so I'm going to rewind it. So let me just play it again over and over. So if I concentrate on myself, that's what happens to me. I also kind of went the same place that you did. This verse tells me it is not my job to worry about what is happening over there. Okay. But do you see what I did when I was fretting about it? I had to talk about it. And so therefore that turned me into a gossip, which makes me a sinner too. Right. So, I mean, we're all sinners. However, I'm worried about his sin, but I'm sinning just by talking about it behind his back. It doesn't matter that it's true. It's still gossip, you know? And, it just kind of slapped me in the face. God is telling me right here, don't worry about all that. I will act. I need you to stop and I need you to listen. Stop talking and listen. let me act. Just get out of my way. Right. Um, and that's hard for me because I want to control situations that I'm in for my own safety. Um, I don't ever want to find myself in situations where, there's really bad people and I got nowhere to go. I'm always, when I get somewhere, like a physical place, I'm always looking for the out. But you know what? I do that emotionally too. I always leave myself an out in relationships. And that's not really a good thing, I don't think. Um, because if I have an out, then I'm always looking at that other person to give me a reason to go. And I don't want to be that person. So I've got to let that go. I've got to let all of that go and know in my heart, and in my heart of hearts, just know that I know that I know God's going to handle all of that. I can't handle it. It's not my place to handle it or to worry about it or fret about it. His word just tells us that. And something else that I wrote, and I say this to people a lot, but I don't say it to myself because, it's different for everybody else. It's different for me than for everybody else. Um, no matter what those people are doing, those wicked people, those evil people, no matter what they're doing or what they have done, God still loves them as much as he loves me. His forgiveness is waiting right there for them, just like it's waiting for me. And that is really hard for me to swallow
That's very frustrating.
because in my head, there are billions of people that don't deserve that. The guy that murdered my 23-year-old fiance, how many years ago? 29, 20, 30 years ago. This December 2025 will be 30 years. God will forgive him. Now, this man killed him and turned my life completely upside down for years. And it still does. And a lot of that, as you and I have talked in the past, is trauma responses. Um, but the fact that God loves that man and will forgive him, or hopefully has forgiven him. I hope that man has come to Christ, and I hope that he has asked forgiveness for all of his sins. I hope that he has. And I hope that when he dies, he sees Jesus. I just don't want to see him in heaven. I don't want to be anywhere around him. And I know that's just the human side of us. That's But here's the good thing about that is that when God made me, when he formed me in my mother's womb, he already knew that all that about me. He already knew that. He already countered in my stupidity, my ignorance, my jealousy, my trauma responses. He already knew all of that. And he still chose me to be here with all of you. He still chose me. So that's going to make me cry almost. Corey, I don't cry. Anyway, we're something pretty special to God.
And he, maybe he knows what brought bad people to do the bad things that they did. He saw what was going on in their lives that we didn't see. He saw what gave that man a reaction of doing what he did. And that's how he's able to forgive, but we're not, because it doesn't make sense to us. We don't understand. We don't know it all. And God knows. Even when it frustrates us.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, I've said the words, God, I forgive so and so, his first and last name. I forgive him. God, I hope that you forgive him, you know, because that's what Jesus said to the other man on the cross, you know. but I don't feel like I mean it. I've said the words, but I don't feel like I mean it. And I struggle with that because it seems like I ought to feel that, you know? But that person, and I know he didn't kill me, but he killed a part of me. And I don't know. I don't know that there is a feeling associated with forgiveness. The Bible doesn't say that. I haven't found anywhere where we're talking about forgiveness that there's a feeling associated with that. All it says is we're supposed to be kind, tenderhearted, and forgive 7 times a day if you need to. You know, doesn't say anything about how I'm supposed to feel about it. So, and sometimes I still, 30 years later almost, I still get so mad at that coward. And maybe that's wrong of me to say that, but that's the way I see him. So that's what I call him. And in those times, God, I forgive him. Maybe I'm beating a dead horse. I don't know, but I don't know any other way to handle that anger and that sadness, you know?
Well, if you keep saying it enough, maybe you'll believe it.
Maybe one day my brain will catch up with my heart, you know, or my heart will catch up with my brain. That's the way
Yeah.
it should go.
If it's something that is not a constant bearing on your everyday life, I feel like you have forgiven. But when it re-enters your thoughts, you're hurt. You feel all of those same feelings that you felt the day it happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And then you
that
lose
doesn't
them
mean you
all
haven't
over again.
forgiven. It doesn't mean you haven't forgiven. It just means you haven't forgotten. And it was a huge impact on you. And you're always going to feel the impact of the trauma.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. Because I can be just as mad at him today as I was December 23rd, 1995. You know, just as mad as I was that day, I can still feel that same amount, intense anger. And it's kind of scary sometimes, but you know, I forgive again and again and again. So I don't know if I'm supposed to feel something, feel lighter, or, you know, I don't know if we're supposed to feel anything, but I haven't read anything in the Bible that says we are. So the Bible says to forgive, so that's what we do.
It
Maybe
doesn't say
our
to
feelings will
forget.
catch up with us. Yeah, maybe our feelings will eventually catch up with us. You know, but you know, it could also not be unforgiveness. It could be the enemy trying to distract you. So, you know, I'm not really sure. I guess we would pray for God to give us that discernment. And, you know, and hopefully we would be still, stop talking so we could hear him. And, you know, he would reveal that to us. And then we could just start devil stomping, you know? We've already forgiven. You're not throwing that in my face.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, I went down rabbit holes on this one. I knew I would because this was a lot for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, that's it, y'all. That is our dig for 1 Samuel 12:16, Isaiah 40:31, and Psalm 37:7. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. And remember, like, share, reshare, subscribe, hit the bells. I don't know, all the stuff.
We have a group page that's just Two Girls and Jesus on Facebook. And then we have another page on Facebook that is Two Girls and Jesus. We have TikTok. No, I'm going to forget. We have TikTok, YouTube, and I don't think we've added anything else yet. Oh,
Yeah,
Spotify.
we added something on
Yeah,
Instagram. I
we added
saw it and I was like,
Spotify.
oh my gosh, that's us.
Yeah, we added Spotify.
Oh
So
yeah, and Spotify.
yes,
Yeah.
so we've got YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, all the little places, and we're just trying to reach out wherever we can, however we best can, and we will do our best to work through all the kinks and start making this a little more flawless. Nah, we're flawed. It's gonna stay flawed.
It's gonna stay flawless. Yeah, because that's just us, Corey.
Yeah.
You know, life is hard on any given day, whether you have something major happen or not. Life is hard. And God is so good. He gave us the Bible and He gave us friends. He gave us people. And to be doing both of those things at one time with Corey means more to me than I'll ever be able to put into words. And that is a gift. It is a wonderful gift from God. And God wanted us to share all of this with you. So I hope and I pray that whoever God intended to hear this, that it gets to them. Yeah. You guys rock. Thank y'all for all the support. We like 300 people saw us somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but like 300 people saw us. So they didn't see us, they saw God. They might have seen our faces, but we were showing them God. So keep doing the stuff, y'all. And so will we. Corey, I love you.
I love you.
I will talk to you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Bye.